What's up guys, it's Savjz here, and on this video we are going to talk all things Darius in Riftbound. We'll start with the basic strategy, then we'll get to the battlefields and the battlefield strategy, then we'll talk about the cards individually, and finally at the end we'll talk about the sideboarding and the matchups. I will also talk about the general strengths and the weaknesses of Darius. There's certainly a lot of each. The strengths are very good and the weaknesses are unfortunately also significant, but overall the deck is very powerful. So, what have we been doing with Darius? What is Darius all about? Darius is an aggressive strategy where we're trying to get a lot of units on the board early and end the game quickly. The legend gives us extra energy when we are playing more than one card a turn. So after the first card, we will get the extra energy available, allowing us to really populate the board and try to pressure both of the battlefields from the get-go. We'll start with the battlefield strategy. First, we have the Zone Warrens. Why are we playing the Zone Warrens? One of the major weaknesses for Darius is that you can actually run out of cards. So if you have no cards in your hand, you don't discard, you just draw. So Zone Warrens gives us an extra way to run. They essentially like draw extra cards if we run low on them. It also helps us with the discarding and drawing. Will also help us with finding our key cards, like the baited hook, which we always would love to have access to. It is not impossible to win games without the baited hook, but it certainly is a big part of it. It really helps to have it. And the next one that we have is the Trifarian War Camp. Again, like I'm playing double duty here. First of all, units here have +1 might. So first of all, we have a lot of small units, so we can get lots of effect from this, as opposed to if we had just one big unit, so we would only get 1 might. So by having 3 units, whether they're tokens or anything else, it will really add up to higher might total. And once again, the key card of the deck is the baited hook. And when we kill the friendly unit, we look at the top cards and may play a unit that has up to 1 might more. So when we have that bonus might from the Trifarian War Camp, it lets us sacrifice things like Pauti Poro and be able to search for a 4 might unit. 4 might unit is what we want to do. Whenever we are spinning the baited hook, which is the key card of the deck, we want to get a 4 might or less. Okay? Very important. There are situations where we don't have a 3 might to sacrifice, and we just have to go for like up to 3 might total, but 4 might is the sweet spot. At 4 we have Kaisa. We also have the Spectral Matron. Spectral Matron is oftentimes the best thing to hit, especially early to mid game. Early to mid game, Spectral Matron is the best one to get, and late game it will be Draven. But we'll get to that in a bit. I'll first talk about the battlefields. But yes, we are playing this for the lots of tokens and for the baited hook. Next up, we have the Candlelight Sanctum. When you conquer here, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck. So again, like one more of these like sort of double duty battlefields. It's an excellent battlefield for us. If we don't have the baited hook yet, that will let us look at top 2 cards, and if there are no baited hooks there, we just put them at the bottom. So we are kind of like fast forwarding to find our baited hook. And if we already have our baited hook, in that case, we get to get a sneak peek at the top 2 cards. And if we have the card that we want to get from the hook, then we leave it there. And if there's nothing good, or maybe it's spells or small units, we just put them at the bottom. So instead of looking at 5 cards, it's almost like we're looking at 7 cards. So it really helps with the hook. And yeah, that's pretty much it. A notable mention for a battlefield that we are not playing right now is the Arena's Greatest, which lets you start the game at 1 point. It is quite good for the game in best of 3 where you're going first. So it would be a game 2 or game 3 for the game where you go first, if you select to go with that one. I would maybe take out maybe the Zone Warren. These are not really, none of these battlefields are too important, I would say, on who goes first or who goes second. But if we were playing the Arena's Greatest, I would certainly use that as the go first battleground. Our champion in the champion zone is Darius Trifarian. 5 might, 5 energy. When you play as a second card a turn, give me +2 this turn and ready me. So when you play 2 cards, just for a quick tip for everyone, when you play 2 cards, it doesn't matter if Darius is the first one or the second one played. He will ready. He counts himself. If you already played 1 card and you play Darius, that works. It's really easy to really like play this as an accelerated unit. If you have 5 energy, you can play the Darius, and then you can activate your legend, and you can play Cleave on Darius. So even if you only have 5 runes available, what you can do is Darius Cleave. You could also play him at 4 energy technically if you have the Seal of Unity. You take energy from your rune, you play the seal, you activate the legend, and then you go up to 5. And seal was played, Darius was played, so you have your guy ready to go. Just an excellent champion zone unit. I wanted to say that the yellow Darius is also not like super bad, but it's just the red one is so much better in my view. So I strongly recommend playing the red one. Seal of Unity. We need the seals for many reasons. It lets us. It's an easy way to do the Legion for the legend power. It is a 0 cost card. We also have a lot of uses for it. We can use the hidden cards. We have this double pips here. And most importantly, once again, we keep circling back to the baited hook because this is the most important card in the deck. Every time you activate the baited hook, you need to pay 1 recycle cost. So if we have a hook and we have the seal, they pair very well together. So you can every turn you can just tap both to keep getting stronger units. So seal, excellent card to activate Legion and to use with the hook. Cleave is super powerful. It lets our small units contest a little bit bigger units when we are going for the Conquerors. But we are only playing 2 at this time because we want to keep the amount of spells on the kind of on the low side. With Darius, it's often better to be proactive. So what we want to be doing on the early turns is we want to be playing multiple units. We don't really want to have spells. We just want to have lots of units and just go like, if we have 3 energy, we got Pouty Porter, and then activate Legend, play another 2. And so on, so on. So just having plays that we can make no matter the board situation is pretty good for Darius in general. So that's why we only have 2, so we don't draw them at the same time and be awkward about it. Pouty Poro, maybe the weakest of the 2 drops for this deck, but still, it's pretty good in a Kai'Sa meta. We needed to have an extra 2. We only have a few right now. We have 7 total here. We technically have a little more if we count the Noxus Hopeful, but that's not exactly a 2. But we'll get to that in a bit. So just 1 Pouty Poro. 3 Hidden Blades. Just a reminder to everyone, this is an excellent tempo card because we can hide it for just the recycle cost, so we can kill a unit if we need once we are starting to like close out the game. If your opponent has a lot of cards, it might not matter because we're the aggressors. We might be able to end the game before they get any extra value from the extra cards. But the reminder that I mentioned, you can kill your own units with this, and there certainly are times that come up. So keep it in mind that you can kill your own token in particular. If you have an extra token and you need cards, you don't have what you need to end the game with. You know you're going to need more cards. Killing your own token might be a good option. Then we have Daring Poros. Assault +1. Just a great early unit to be able to conquer early and then maybe put it in the in the hook and just replace it with something else. But it's just a solid one to start out with. In the yellow, this is some of the better 2 drops that we can have. Trifarian Gloryseeker, another Legion card. So it's basically, in this deck, it's pretty much a 2 energy, 3 might, because it is so easy to activate the Legion with the extra energy, play multiple cards. So just remember to not play this first. If you are going first and you have this and you can't activate the Legion, it's okay. It's still a good backup turn 1 play if you don't have anything else to play, if you don't have the other 2s. Then we have the Faithful Manufacturers. When you play me, play a 1 recruit token. So it's a good card to help you really get those, like I mentioned in the very beginning, to get pressure on the both of the battlegrounds. So if your opponent is playing a slow deck, this is 2 in 1 for when it comes to units. You can send 1 to the right, 1 to the left, really score those points. Even if your units die afterwards, it's okay. And this is another like decent target for the baited hook, especially if you get it to the Trifarian camp, then you can sacrifice this one. Yeah, we're getting those tokens. Then, of course, the baited hook. This is the most important card in your deck, and this is the best card in your deck. I think this is the reason why nearly every Darius deck that you see, at least the competitive ones, are playing a baited hook version. It goes so well with the strategy. That's just in the color combination of yellow and red. There's just a lot of very highly synergistic cards that can either attack the turn they're played, or cards like Draven, which we'll get to later, which is just a very high might unit. It is such a power card. This is what you want to see in your starting hand. This is what you want to search for with your Zaun Warrens and your Candlelight Sanctum. Just be very careful with which units you sacrifice and where do you put the new units, and know if you did like hold or be on the offense. Super powerful card, absolutely incredible. Don't forget to recycle the rest when you look at those. And then we have the Vanguard Captain. Vanguard Captain, very powerful card in this. We have the seals, so the seal can activate the Legion. A cool tip for you guys, that if you're going first and you only have 2 energy, you can actually, if you have a seal, you can play a turn 1 Vanguard Captain, because you can take the energy from your runes, and then you play a seal. So then you have two energy, and then you have the seal available, and then because you play the seal, your Hand of Nox is active, so you can get 1 more energy from here, so you can access 3 energy, and the seal also perfectly pays for the recycle cost on the Vanguard Captain. So turn 1 Vanguard Captain, I mean, it doesn't happen all that often, but it is the dream. It is an absolutely, maybe the best opening for any deck in Riftbound. If you can pull that off. Yellow seal into Vanguard Captain on turn 1, going first. Just a great unit. I would like to say about this one, this is the perfect unit for the Baited Hook to sacrifice. If you have a Vanguard Captain in play, you nearly always want to sacrifice this one, because this is the lottery suit. It is searching for the 4 might, which was the breakpoint that we established. But it's also like having the Vanguard Captain on the graveyard is quite good, because if we hit the Spectral Matron, we can bring it back and get those tokens again. And yeah, it counts as playing. Like when this gets playing, even if it comes from the hook, the cards in Riftbound, they don't need to come from the hand in order to be played. So kill a friendly unit and then play a unit. So Legion will be active because they have been played. So you could have an empty hand, you activate Baited Hook, and then the Baited Hook plays the Matron, and then the Matron plays the Captain, so you'll get the tokens. You can populate your board very quickly. So with 1 hook spin, you could, by sacrificing your Captain, you get a 4/4 and 2 brand new tokens. Nox is Hopeful, another Legion card. Again, there's a little team here. Same thing with this. If you have the seal, you could technically play this on turn 1. But a common way to play this, I would say, is when you are going second, on your turn 1, you go something like, you have 3 energy, you go Daring Poro, you activate your Legend for the 4th energy, and then you play the 4/4, and then you have Poro and a Hopeful on turn 1. That's just amazing. It just feels really good. So yeah, this guy is really easy to play with the Legend power that we have. Just a powerful unit overall. Vayne, I'm currently only playing 1 in this deck, but it's one of those enters ready. And if you're really like low on cards, sometimes you want to like return this to hand. It's fairly common, I would say, that you return this to hand, because on defense it's only 2 might. So if your opponent has almost anything, you just kind of like know that your Vayne is gonna die. There are situations where it might make sense if you have, let's say, you have multiple units and like together they are defending well, where you don't return it to hand. But most of the time, if you leave Vayne on the battlefield, he will probably die, so you should have 1 extra energy to return it to hand. Unless, of course, you have so much gas already that you don't really need the Vayne. Kaisa, Survivor. Just a really strong card. Like, no energy cost on the main cost, and like those extra cards really come in handy. Darius is one of the decks where every card you draw is super valuable, because by the end of the game, you're very unlikely to have a large hand. You're most likely just going to have a card or 2, maybe nothing. It's just, there's a very little extra cards, so very, very valuable with the Conqueror. Draven. Later on in the game, when you have points, Draven is the best thing you can hit from your hook when the game has progressed. Very early on, when you have like no points, it's not really that great. But later on, if you, let's say you have 6 points, Draven is 9 might. But even though in reality it's 9 might, because it's increased by the points, you can still select it from your Baited Hook, because when the Baited Hook doesn't know about the ability, so that's pretty good. That's one way to say it, I guess. So Draven is an excellent hit from the Baited Hook in later, in the mid to late game. So if Spectral Matron is the best one, assuming that you have something like this on the graveyard, Spectral Matron is the best hit early on. then Draven is the best hit later on. And oftentimes with the Darius deck, you will get your last point from holding. So Draven is one of the better holding units because it actually has a pretty big size. It varies. Like sometimes you double conquer, but sometimes if you go with the hold, it feels like Draven is a key part of it. Maybe you play one from the hand and then another one from the hook, and then you suddenly have 20 might holding. All right. Then the final card, we have 2 Grand Stratagems. So this is the finisher. With the early, in theory at least, and like in practice often too, what happens early on, because we're playing multiple units, or we're playing one unit that makes a token, so we have lots of guys pressuring both battlefields. So we're playing an aggressive playstyle to score to 6 points. And then when we're at 6, we build an army in base, either by pulling units back, not trying to defend, or just playing them from the hand to prepare for the stratagem. So this is when we go for double conquer oftentimes with this. So we have, let's say we have 5 tokens and small units, a mix of things. We gem this, so this is how we win the game. We can search for this from the Candlelight Sanctum and all that good stuff. We're only playing 2 because this is not a good card early, and we don't really want to draw multiple at the same time. It's not always necessary either. Final note on this card is that you can play it on your opponent's turn. So there are times when it's your opponent's turn and you are holding a battlefield. Maybe you're at 7, or you could be at 6 or 7, and then you're holding both the battlefields. And then your opponent's turn, they move in, you slam this, boom! Your units on that battlefield get buffed, but also on the other one. And it'll make it extremely difficult for them to do the conquer. So yeah, keep it in mind. You can play this on your opponent's turn. Sometimes it comes handy. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, early aggression, and then we had the thing. Let's move on to the sideboard. So the sideboard, we have the Salvages, first of all. One of the best gear, maybe probably the best gear removal. It will get especially good in the next set when there's more equipment and all that stuff. But let's focus on just set 1 for now. You may kill a gear. So what are we killing with this? Well, if you're playing against another Darius, obviously their hook is an excellent target. If you're playing against Dazzling Aurora or Zonia's Hourglasses, this can also be quite good. There's not that many gear, but it's just such a good gear hate card because it also draws a card. Like it's affordable, can be played on your opponent's turn, and it draws a card. It's just a good card. So we have 3 of those. Call the week. We have lots of tokens in our own deck. So when each player kills 1 unit, we are often just killing a shitty 1/1, and they have to select something bigger. So against decks that don't have that many small units, this can be a very useful thing. It's also a card that if you think that there's something in particular in your deck is not useful for a matchup, you can just like, oh, I want to take this out because this is not a good card. This can be the filler if the other cards don't make much sense. So like if it's like, okay, we don't really need Vayne or something, then you can bring in the Call the Week or Stratagems or whatever they might be. If you feel like, okay, they're not holding, so cleave is, maybe I don't need a cleave. So yeah, we have the Call the Weeks there. And the final sideboard card is the Imperial Decree. Imperial Decree, when any unit takes damage, kill it. So again, a card that's extremely good with tokens that we are producing from the Vanguard Captain and the Faithful Manufacturer. So this card you bring in against decks that are holding. So if you are playing against hold decks, you want to bring this in. So Master Yi, always holding. Master Yi could be Aurora Yi, could be regular Yi. Against that is really good. Then sort of like maybe not as popular, but Leona is another one that's often holding. Just any deck that has either big units or is holding, we bring in the Imperial Decree. Could take out the stratagems. It depends a little bit. It's a little bit cheaper to like to play, and you can also play this slightly earlier. But you can also run both, depending. But yeah, let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of the deck. Baited Hook, so powerful if you draw it early. So powerful. So this is both the biggest strength and the biggest weakness. So Darius' deck is significantly weaker if you don't have access to the Baited Hook. It is such a key card. It is irreplaceable. None of the other cards really get the same job done. You can win games, especially if you play at like if it's not highly competitive event. You can definitely win games. Or if you get a fast start against slower deck and you get your right, like it's totally doable. You can win without it, but it is just having it is always better than not having it. Another weakness about being so reliant on the Baited Hook is that if your opponent is playing gear removal, such as the salvages, so going into game 2, game 3, your opponent's gear removal becomes a bit of a like a threat on it. So that's a kind of a bummer. So yeah, the reliance on the baited hook is one of the major weakness and strength. Another thing that I would say is a weakness right now is that the deck is, I have to bring it up. It's a little bit on the expensive side, considering that it's not even as popular as something like Kai'Sa. It's because of all these epic cards. Because like the Seals of Unity are right now at $50. It's pretty hard to replace. So it is not the cheapest deck with those at epic. The baited hooks at epic. The Kai'Sa survivors also, because the card draw is so valuable. It's also epic cards. So I have to put it in the weaknesses of the deck that it's quite expensive. Back to strengths. I think it's super fun to play. I think it's so much fun to play. Like all the lines of play you can find with the Hand of Noxus, getting the extra energy, using it well, when to time your cards, how to get the pressure correctly, when to go in and when to go out, just to get those to score those finishing points. And of course, for the millionth time, I know. I can't stop talking about this. Every time you activate the beta hook, it's such an exciting moment. Just looking at the top cards, and if you have multiple options, it's just like really gets your brain going as well. Let's say you have both the Draven and the Matron, or you have a Kai'Sa and a Vayne, or it's just like making the selections of what fits the situation. There's a lot of strategy behind it too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed Darius. I don't have it in paper right now. Maybe when there's more reprints, I'll get it done. But I can strongly recommend. It's a really, really, really fun and effective deck to play. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We have more coming soon. Yeah, thank you, and enjoy Riftbound.